Welcome to the third and final part of this synopsis of Poetry with a Difference. Here I'll conclude my advocacy of an oral presentation of poetry as being its most penetrative, persuasive, and effective form. However, I'll start on the note on which I ended part 2 of this synopsis, and that was with my demolition of that thing called image. Here I've gone against the grain to suggest that this perception of image being everything is not one that I subscribe to, as articulated by this next poem. The first 2 lines of which, incidentally, were taken from Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice. And these are lines that you know only too well. They are lines that say, and I quote, "All that glitters is not gold. Often have you heard this told." End quote. Now my question is, so why is image in this way sold as being everything but the cure for cold? Why is visage given such a role to determine character, heart, or soul? Are we shaped in such a mold that we are confined to this narrow road where men are defined by attire and abode? Image could a mirage unfold if we are given to all that glows. Image is nothing when substance shows. Man is made man not by the things he owns, not by the bling of his fancy clothes, but by values he'll espouse, those attitudes that make for a moral code. Now viewers, I've always contended with myself that I can create a poem out of any situation that may arise. I can write a poem for any occasion. Now being someone of real, deep community values, I joined with fellow citizens in launching or the relaunch of their Neighborhood Watch initiative. Now Neighborhood Watch is Citizens in Action Against Crime. So I created this poem for that occasion. Is there a greater misnomer than the vigilant being deemed informers? As neighbors, we're our brother's keepers. So what's wrong with being truthful observers? Stop, look, listen for the cry of your neighbor. Here is reason. Life lasts longer than any season, and silence can be worse than treason. So this neighborhood watch, this thing that they have hatched, is for the good of communities at large. Knowledge is dispatched of nefarious acts. We are watching each other's backs. With the JCF's help, let's mitigate the spell of crime that's causing us hell. Starting with ourselves. Anything that smells, let's be quick to query and quell. Informers or reformers? They are performers at best, whose vigilance will procure others' interest. No man is an isle, to that I'll attest. As neighbor, our behavior should bring us redress. So stop, look, listen for the cry of your neighbor. It is the season. Another poem that is community inspired is this one called Come Unity. Not community, which is the theme of the poem, but come unity. 2 words. Here I'm actually beckoning on unity. Come, attend to us in this community. Come in unity. Come build a community. Come, make it your duty, your area's care and beauty. Commitment breeds continuity. Community gives the opportunity to build characters, homes, and dignity, to dismiss selfishness with impunity. So let's come clean in our communities, clear in the air of trivialities, of egos and fastidious personalities, their evil and insidious hostility. Involvement is a responsibility. So come in unity, come create a community. It's an extended form of family. So let's commune in love and harmony. Fraternity through proximity. Community is our identity, a priority to preserve posterity. So come with sincerity, for only that can bring real unity. And remember, communication is the key to this community. Now, as far as experimental poetry goes, I've often considered the prospect of fusing poetry with our own indigenous music. Well, I'm not so sure if our music is still indigenous, but with our own reggae music, to the extent that this poetry becomes accessible at these big reggae shows. I mean, you could have poetry for an hour or so at the start of these shows. Maybe further down, when there are band changes, but I wouldn't go so far. Let's say for the start of each show. Couldn't we do that? But of significance would be the content of this poetry. Yes, the poetry would have to be positive, but if we could get poetry that speak of this fusion between poetry as it relates to music and vice versa. An example of this is this. Music and poetry. You know them a family. Ask Louis Bennett, ask Bob Marley. Jamaican culture in a harmony. From Claude McKay to Muta Baruka. We are poets from the past, poets for the future. Poets who will last longer than the computer by the thoughts they advance, thoughts that are crucial, ones that will enhance our music and culture. Now, another fusion being sought is a fusion of languages. Because most of my poems are done in standard English, I've often contemplated fusing it with our own Jamaican vernacular, our own Jamaican patois. But there's a strategy that I've employed that would assist in this fusion, and it's called the strategy of context. I believe that if words are used in certain contexts, it will make the meanings more readily understood. And this is what I tried for in this experimental poetry. Poetry and music. Which one? Choose it. Hope you know if you use it. So nobody chew it like a chew stick or swing it like a broomstick. No abuse it or misuse it. The essence of life, don't lose it. Use it to uplift as a motive, as a stream we need to flow with, as a dream we want to grow with, is a thing the youth will notice. Poetry and music, which one? Choose it. Hope you know if you use it. You see, with truth you have to fuse it. Education would also suit it. Meditation alone can't do this. With positive poetry and music, peace of mind is no longer elusive. Peruse it so they don't dispute it, yet alone refute it. In truth, they will salute it. Positive poetry and music. If it's otherwise, then refuse it. You can't compromise when you're choosing your poetry or your music. To a better life, it's conducive. This appetite for poetry and music, a sacrifice worn like a tunic to sensitize and curb the unruly. So don't confuse it with the abusive, some lyrics that's inconclusive, that speak about people loosely. With lyrics, you have to be choosy. It's not just rhythm and blues. It's not like going to the movies. You shouldn't try to batter or bruise it. Positive poetry and music, may I beg you now, come, we produce it. Poetry and music, which one? Choose it. Hope you know if you use it. With truth, you have to fuse it. And I told you, education would also suit it. Don't undo it or excuse it or to a certain level reduce it. Spruce it, make it lucid with lyrics that show true grit. It's not exclusive, so use it so that one and all can prove this, that poetry and music, cathartic, terrific, therapeutic. Never had good teeth, nor good feet, yet I found fair speech, and with a football, I could compete. So not being complete, I decided to dig deep. In areas where I was weak, perfection I would seek. Without claims of being unique, love I would critique. And although for me it seemed bleak, I might have felt its tweak. Still, without its fullness, I'd be weak. Never had good skin, not that it was thin, but imperfections at surface came from within. Heredity, it seemed, that had its last spin. For there was no way I was going to leave in a kin, no one to inherit such suffering. You too can be on YouTube if you're tuned to your virtues. Use tools from your talent pool. Don't be fooled. It's not a test tube. It's the real truth. The best views of what skills will do for your fortunes. So, You too can be on YouTube, like YouTube. See you.